All right, welcome back to ABA exam review and the continuation of our RBT practice question series where we're going through another set of questions together and breaking them down. If you're new to the channel, welcome. If you're returning, welcome back. Please like and subscribe. Check out btexamreview.com for all of our study materials, including our combo pack. When you pass your exam, let us know so we can include you in the Sunday shout out. Work hard, study hard. Let's get going. John is teaching a client to fold laundry. John physically guides the client's hands through the entire process of folding a shirt. Over several trials, John gradually reduces the amount of physical guidance until the client can fold the shirt independently. What is John doing relative to the prompts? So the question is asking about John's behavior in terms of the prompting. We know John is teaching the client to fold laundry. We know John is using a physical prompt for the client's hands and using it through the whole process. And as John goes through the trials, he's reducing the amount of physical guidance he's using. So he's not necessarily changing up his prompts. He's just reducing the amount of physical touch he's using with his client. So knowing that, let's pick the best answer here for what John is doing relative to the prompts. A, is John fading in the prompts? Well, John is not fading in prompts. When we fade something in, we're essentially adding something. So if you're fading in a prompt, you're typically going to be adding more prompting. If you're fading in reinforcement, you're going to be adding more reinforcement. John is removing the prompt. So he's starting to fade out the prompts, right? He's fading out the physical guidance. If we visualized it, and the big P is a beginning physical prompt, slowly but surely, he's reducing that physical prompt until hopefully there's no more. Now, is he using the prompt hierarchy? Well, the prompt hierarchy is a pyramid, so to speak, of prompts from most intrusive to least intrusive. And we can move up and down the prompt hierarchy depending on what type of prompt is called for. John's not really moving down or up the prompt hierarchy because he's using physical prompting the entire time. And then D, using least to most prompting. Same thing with C, he's physically guiding the client the entire time. He's not necessarily going least to most. If anything, he's going most to least since he is fading out that physical guidance. So relative to the prompts, John is fading out the physical guidance. He's fading out the prompts. Camp counselors at a summer camp are praised with the same phrase, "good job," after every task they complete. Over time, these counselors begin responding less efficiently despite continued praise. What principle is most likely affecting performance? So let's think about the performance. And whose performance are we looking at? We're looking at the camp counselors. Notice we're always starting by asking ourselves, what is the question asking and who are we looking at? Whose behavior? In this case, we're looking at the camp counselors, and we know they're praised with the same phrase, "good job," every time. Now, when we use the same reinforcement every time, especially every task, so in FR1 continuously, what can tend to happen with that reinforcement? Well, our client, or in this case the counselors, can start to get tired of it, so to speak, or can start to lose its effectiveness. And that's what's happened. The counselors begin responding less efficiently, even though the praise hasn't stopped. What is the technical term for that? When somebody is given too much of something and it loses its effectiveness. A, satiation due to overuse of the same reinforcer. Yes, the word is satiation. The counselors are becoming satiated on this phrase of "good job." Satiation can happen when we receive too much of something. If you eat too much cake, eventually you're going to be tired of that cake, which is why we always want to try to find a lot of different reinforcers and switch them out. B, extinction because praise was removed. Praise wasn't removed. Praise was continued. C, deprivation from too much reinforcement. Well, it's not deprivation, right? Deprivation is we're not getting enough of something. Satiation is getting too much. D, prompt dependency by the counselors. There's no mention of prompts here. We're looking at that phrase, "good job," and how repeated use of that phrase has led to satiation by the counselors. So what principle is most likely affecting performance? A, satiation due to overuse of the same reinforcer. The client is taught to man the ball during NET sessions in the playroom. After 2 weeks, the client frequently requests ball, but only in the playroom and ignores the ball in the living room. Which adjustment would you suggest? Hardest part I think about this is the vocabulary in the question itself. This word manned. What does manned mean? A manned is a request. And in the field, you're going to hear the word manned all the time. Manding is just making a request. So essentially asking for something. If the client is taught to manned ball, they're taught to ask for the ball. What is NET? Well, let's say natural environment training or natural environment teaching. We're teaching in the natural environment. We're teaching the client to request ball in a natural setting. With that teaching, the client is now requesting ball, which is great, but only in the playroom and ignoring the ball in the living room. What would you suggest so we're not just confined to the playroom? A, increase the reinforcement magnitude in the playroom. Increasing magnitude in the playroom might do what? Well, it might strengthen it in the playroom. But our problem is they're ignoring the ball in the living room. B, introduce training across multiple settings. What are we trying to achieve here? Well, we need generalization. And if generalization isn't happening naturally or on its own, we need to start promoting it. And we can do that with training in these other settings. C, reduce reinforcement schedule to prevent satiation. We just talked about that. And reducing reinforcement is unlikely to increase the behavior, right? Because more reinforcement or having reinforcement increases behavior. And then D, use discrete trial training instead of NET for better consistency. Not necessarily. They have learned in the playroom with NET. The problem is it's not generalizing. So what we can do is just start training across multiple settings. So the adjustment we would suggest is promote generalization or train across multiple settings. A client's parent is nervous that the insurance company may not pay for services anymore if data don't improve. The parent tells the technician to indicate in their notes that a session is going better than what the data show because the parent says the data don't tell the full story. What should the technician do? So this is always tricky, right? Our number one priority is getting the client the best care and doing no harm to them. And a big part of our job and a big part of the client's life are these insurance companies typically that fund a lot of the services. And with that comes reporting and different things like that. You have to often meet certain performance indicators. In this case, the client's parent thinks the insurance company may not pay for services, which would be really bad for the client if the data don't improve. The parent tells the technician that they should just say in their notes, session is going better than what the data show because data don't tell the full story. Now, what's the issue with that? Well, data are what they are, right? If they're being collected correctly, the data are going to show what's happening in the session. And going in and trying to manipulate your notes just to hopefully make the data seem better or improved is not ethical and it's not honest. So, tough situation, but what should the technician do? A, write the notes as requested since it does benefit the client and family and inform the supervisor. No, we cannot lie in our session notes. It's unethical. It's probably illegal depending on the health laws, right? Never, ever misrepresent data or what happened. B, write the notes as requested and change the data to match the notes. Definitely not. Do not alter data after the fact. Data should be objective as possible. C, write the notes accurately and inform the supervisor. Yes, write the notes as it happened and then let your supervisor know immediately. D, make everyone happy by excluding this session from data and notes and inform the supervisor. Well, no, we're not just going to exclude the session because it didn't go well. It's just, even if it were to, let's say, benefit the client, it's unethical. We can't do it. So despite the parent's request, notes must be accurate. You've got to inform the supervisor. The technician is recording how long a client takes to put away their toys after being given the instruction, clean up. The technician starts a stopwatch when the instruction is given and stops it when the last toy is put away. Which measurement dimension is the technician primary collecting? All right, measurement question. What are we measuring? We are measuring how long, right? When we say how long, we're thinking time. How much or how many is often a number. So for measuring time, we can kind of rule out frequency. That's a count. How long a client takes to put away their toys after being given the instruction, clean up. We're going to look at when the measurement starts, right? So when the instruction is given, we start the stopwatch. Once the last toy is put away, we stop the stopwatch. So we're measuring the entire duration of cleaning up. That is our measurement. This is our duration, right? What is latency? Latency would be the time from the SD to the beginning of picking up. That's our latency. Interresponse time will be the time in between responses, okay? We're looking at this one response and how long that one response took. How long did it take to clean up? What was the duration of cleaning up? The answer here is B. Thanks for watching. Check out btexamreview.com for all of our study materials. When you pass your exam, let us know so we can include you in the Sunday shout-out. Work hard, study hard. See you soon.